Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we are going to be doing an in-shop review. I haven't done one of these in a while and I kind of forgot to do them, to be honest, but people seem to like them, so I think I'll go ahead and do another one here. There are quite a few things in shop at the minute, so I think it is a good day to go ahead and do a full, in-shop breakdown review of what you should buy or should not buy in the shop. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start out, of course, in the offers area. And then here you have the very first thing is going to be some crates. 3 hunting concealment containers. Now these basically is just, they're crates for, camouflages. And, not worth it, because obviously you don't really need camouflages for, 1,500 gold. I mean, just go get a legendary camouflage if you want something like that. So I really wouldn't recommend these unless you have an insane amount of gold, have every premium tank in the game, and you have nothing else to do. That's about the only time you should be buying these hunting concealment containers. This is just part of the event, so I'm not going to go over it. Here we have an amazing deals. Here is an amazing tanks. We have the Progetto 46 for 8,500 gold, Canaverin Action 10 for 10,000, or both of them where you save 1,000 gold when you are doing this, and you get the Blistering and Resolute, and you also get legendary camo for the Action X here, as well as, lots of other juicy rewards and stuff in that as well for free. And all I would say is I highly recommend any one of these three. Personally, I would go for the Progetto 46 if you're not wanting to spend a ton of gold, because not only is it cheaper than a Canaverin, it is an absolutely amazing tank. They're both amazing, to be honest, but I would say I would go for the Progetto personally. I would go for the Progetto, but if you really want the Canaverin Action 10, I mean, you can go for that as well. And then as well, if you have a lot of gold or you really want both, you can go ahead, of course, and go for this bundle right here. But out of anything in the store, I would probably recommend one of these 3 deals right here as what you should go for, because they are just absolutely amazing tanks. Some of the best tier 8 tanks in the game, and if you're wanting to get some tier 8 premiums, this is pretty much exactly what you need. So I highly recommend any of these 3 deals. They're all great. Like I said, if I would go for one, I would personally go for the Progetto 4 if you're not spending a ton of gold. But then, of course, if you want to spend a lot, I mean, this right here is exactly what you want to get. Alright, so here we obviously just have some more hunting concealment containers. I already talked about these. Would not recommend at all. And then, so we'll go ahead and, move on to the next thing here. And here we have 5 great victors, courageous allies, and the weapons of victory. I'll start on the smallest one because, of course, it is the smallest one. And this is 5,500 gold. And what are you getting here? The ISU 122S, the T-3485 victory, 2 garage slots, 9 equipment slots for each vehicle, and the Soldier's Knife Epic Avatar. This right here is not a bad deal at all. The ISU 122S is actually a very good tank. It's basically the SU with the 400 alpha gun. I mean, you could just go get an SU and turn it into a 400 alpha gun tank, and then that's basically the ISU 122S. But what's the fun in that? I'm joking. If you really, are starved for gold and you really want the SU 122, you should probably do that. But still, it's a good tank, and that way, of course, you can't play the SU with not the derp gun. I mean, it's basically illegal in my opinion, so you might as well get the ISU, and then, of course, you get the T-3485 with it, which is a decent tank. It's not like the best tank out there. It got power crept a lot over the last few years or so. So it's not the best tank, but I would overall say this bundle isn't horrible, but probably not the best one out of these. Next one you have is the Courageous Allies, and this is going to be 1 tier 7 and 1 tier 6, the Chrome will be in the T-3485 Rudy. Rudy is basically just the T-3485 Victory. There's not really that big of a difference, I'm pretty sure. If there is, it's very minimal, and I really don't know anything about it. And then as well, the Cromwell B is an amazing tank at tier 6, one of the best tier 6 tanks out there. And I would probably recommend this bundle just because of how good the what am I saying? Just because of how good the Cromwell B is. And if you want to know the difference between this and that, I just forgot, there are different tiers. This is basically a Rudy at tier 6, and this is basically a T-3485 at tier 7. So personally, I would probably go for this one over this one, even though it's 1,000 more gold, just because you have 2 separate tanks and one of excuse me, instead of one that's, pretty similar to a tech tree if you just change the guns. But that's just my recommendation. And then here you have the 5 great victors. This is 10,500 gold. You are getting all the previous tanks I mentioned, plus the IS2 1945, which I probably wouldn't recommend this one because you're getting the IS in the event. This is kind of sneaky by Wargaming. They had this before the event, so people were buying this, getting the IS, I can't speak English today, the IS-2 1945, and then in the event they get it again. So yeah, this was a little bit of a sneaky thing Wargaming did right here, and I probably wouldn't recommend this bundle as much just because, of course, the IS-2 1945 is basically a useless tank, so you're really only getting the 4 other ones in the package, but still for 10,500 gold, it's not horrific by any means at all. And then the next things up is just these things from the, whatever they're called, I can't remember the name of them. Season coins, yeah, season coins, which most people don't have enough for these, so I'm not really going to talk about them. All I would say is Glacial is a good tank, and if you can't afford to get that with 15,000 golden season coins, excuse me. Next up, we have the Collect 'em All containers, which these are permanent. I did not realize that these are now permanent things in the store. There is no limit to how long these last. But the Collect 'em All containers are just going to be basically every tank in the game above tier 5 for premiums and collectors that you have a chance to get. Personally, for crates, I don't think these are the worst crates out there. Sure, your rewards are random. You might get something you already have or not the best tanks out there. But in general, they're not super expensive. And actually, for crates, they're not the worst. But of course, since they are crates, I would not recommend them because you never know how bad your RNG is going to be. So moving on now to bundles. Very first thing right off the bat, we have the Object 260 containers. And these I would not recommend. The Object 260 is a fun, pretty decent tank out there. But for how much it costs, it's probably not going to be worth it. This exact bundle, right here is 3 containers for $10. That is like way better compared to the other container deals. This is like the special one that gives you, the price of one for like 3. The price of one for like 3 containers or whatever. If you are going to get any Object 260 containers, I would recommend this one personally because it's obviously the cheapest one and it's not the most containers. But, if you're not really caring about $10 and you really don't care if you don't get the tank or not, I mean, sure, but I would not recommend getting them at all. As well, next up thing we have here is going to be the Soviet invasion containers. There are 2 different ones here. We have 1 and 3, and they're pretty expensive, to be honest. I probably wouldn't recommend these just because there are quite a few tanks in here that you really don't want. I mean, here, I'll name all the lame tanks in here. IS-6, KV-5 is decent in, I guess, regular. It's not the best tank, but in gravity it's okay. So I won't name it as a lame tank. T-2020, T-44, T-54, Mod 1. All of those are not really good tanks. The only good ones in here, and the IS-2SH, not a good tank either. Not really the best thing in there. The only ones good in here is the SU-130PM, Object 252U, ISU, 130 is a decent tank, and the K91 and T-22 medium. So with, almost half your chances to get a not very good tank, personally would not recommend these, and especially since they are crates, probably not worth it. Next up, the Battle Pass. I do recommend this just because you get lots of rewards for it. I don't recommend the Heroic Pass, though, because that's kind of just a waste of money. If you just want to, save some time, like, it really makes no sense to get this. Don't get it. Just get the Premium Pass if you're planning on getting the Battle Pass. Next up, the Conqueror's Power, Victor's Might, and Choice of Champions. These are just going to be those, kind of multi-packs, whatever you want to call them, where you get the gold you usually get for the price, but then you get a bunch of other rewards with it. For these, I would recommend these if you guys are wanting gold, because not only do you get gold, you get gold boosters, premium time, and gold garage slots, which is very nice to get those, as a bonus. Like, it's no more money than the other ones. So I would personally recommend these quite a bit because they are, a decent amount of free extra rewards in here. Because if you go to gold and look at the price, it's pretty much the same. I mean, 500 less gold, but instead of you get, 500 gold boosters, which equates to another 5,000 gold. Yeah, it's definitely worth it. All 3 of these things are worth it right here. Next up, a nimble platoon. These are just going to be tier 2s, so I really don't recommend it. It's $3 and you get 7 days of premium. So you could do it more for the premium, but I really don't recommend it just because they're tier 2s, and nobody really wants to play tier 2. Next up, we have more crates. The same thing for the Object 260 crates here, except don't buy these. I mean, look how expensive they are. Like, wow, $10 for one crate. Just, yeah, okay, wargaming. Next up, we have the more Soviet invasion crates. Same thing as I said earlier, don't get them. And that's about it. These are just those permanent things here that, you know, they're good. You just, yeah, they're okay. I mean, you get some, you know, credits with your gold, which I wouldn't recommend these actually because you get less gold than what you would get for your just purchasing gold straight in the gold section. But you get some premium time here or some credits. I probably wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, that's going to be everything in the event. Why did I say event? That's going to be everything in the story. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and this maybe helped you with some of your purchasing ideas. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.